Welcome to Mind Flexing with Alia Parker, your monthly thought expedition to everywhere and anywhere. Strap on your boots or put your feet up. Take a deep breath and let's get flexing. Is this really the Anthropocene? The water trickles from the taps for just a few hours a day. The pressure so low it won't reach the top floor apartments. Electricity fizzles out for hours at a time. Residents religiously fill plastic bottles and containers. Civil servants have been told to stay home, and on days of suffocating air pollution, schools have been shut. It's been hot. This past summer, temperatures regularly reached 40 degrees Celsius, and the cooler air of October has been welcome. Still, the rain won't come, and 5 years of drought and bureaucratic mismanagement has left the region's 4 major dams at 9% capacity. The ground subsides as water is sucked from below the surface to find its way to the lips of 19 million people and an industry with an unquenchable thirst. The wetlands are dying. 19 million people, the population of Iran's Tehran province, which sprawls out from the nation's capital Tehran in the shadows of the imposing Elborz Mountains. The mountains, gold dry and starkly beautiful as snow-capped in winter, but they excel in capturing the rain and sending it northward, away from the city. Millions more in surrounding regions too are affected. This past year has seen just 142 millimetres of rain in Tehran, less than I just tipped from my rain gauge here in the Alpine valleys of Victoria after just 3 weeks' collection. The Iranian water crisis is so severe that President Masoud Pezeshkian has said there is no choice but to move the capital more than 1,000 kilometres to the south, establishing a smarter, planned city on the shores of the Persian Gulf, across the way from Dubai, Abu Dhabi and Doha. Previous presidents too have tried. The capital's fall has been a long time coming. But such drastic change has its opponents, and now, as the capital ceases to effectively function, the people watch for signs of what Iran's supreme leader Ali Khamenei will ultimately decide. History is littered with the remains of ancient cities abandoned when climatic patterns shifted. Angkor in modern-day Cambodia, Mesa Verde in the United States, Tikal in Mexico, Çatalhöyük in Turkey, and Ur in Iraq, each once grand and lively. The earth is in a constant state of change. Seas become coastlines, become forests, become deserts, become seas. It's the natural way of things. And yet, what is happening now is not entirely natural. Inevitable, yes, eventually, but not for this moment in time. Humans have hit the accelerator, sped off on a joyride as if completely oblivious to the speed limit that exists to maintain order. This moment, now, is what we call the Anthropocene, the era of human-induced climate change. Although it's all rather unofficial, at least where epochs are concerned. In fact, the term has unleashed a bit of a geological drama. The International Commission on Stratigraphy, the peak body that defines our geological timescales, is not convinced. I find it amusing that I had to look up what epoch we're currently living in. I've never described myself as existing within the Holocene, that geological phase in time that began at the end of the last ice age around 11,700 years ago. And yet, in recent years, I've become very aware of life having shifted into the Anthropocene. It's somewhat of a pop culture buzzword. It makes sense that we would want to define the profound climatic shift we have inflicted upon ourselves. Anthropocene is catchy. Derived from the Greek anthropos meaning human and scene from kainos meaning new, its use is only set to grow as more cities like Tehran succumb to their own ill-conceived environmental practices, causing them to crumble under the pressure of our climatic shift. Already, The world's most vulnerable are being displaced by our global mismanagement. Rising sea levels are causing low-lying nations like Tuvalu in Polynesia to depopulate. In June this year, 1/3 of the nation's 10,000 residents applied to immigrate to Australia under a new climate change visa. Although capped at 280 people per year, the process will be slow. One by one, Tuvalu's people will set sail in the rising tide, until one day it will cease to exist. At what point does a nation die? Globally, we have failed to bring emissions down to levels that will restrain rising air and sea temperatures. We are warming quickly now. This is the Anthropocene, and yet it is not. Last year, a panel of geologists from the International Commission on Stratigraphy voted against a proposal by the Anthropocene Working Group to end the Holocene and mark the beginning of a new epoch. None on the panel disputed the impact of humans on climate, but given epochs are timescales identified by geological characteristics that occur over millions of years, the time frame of the Anthropocene, and the Holocene too for that matter, would be unusually short. Moreover, epochs are divided into ages, and sitting within the Holocene is the Megalayan age, a time of relatively stable climate and human-driven environmental change, like farming and industry. Arguably, it would be more appropriate for the Anthropocene to succeed this age rather than mark the start of a new geological epoch, especially given we continue to live within the interglacial conditions characteristic of the Holocene. Unfortunately, the suffix "cene" is used only for epochs, meaning the Anthropocene would need a new name. Not ideal given its acceptance into our lexicon. Perhaps Anthropocene, a combination of anthropos and aeon, meaning age, will sound close enough. Formalities aside, the Anthropocene may not be a geological epoch, but it is nevertheless real. The world's weather patterns are shifting. Life and what sustains it is moving. Species that cannot move or adapt will perish, and we, having built our metropolises and food bowls based on the old, need to be flexible and unfixed. We need to create and embrace new ways of doing things. A great migration has begun. Tehran, one of the largest cities in Western Asia, is about to run out of water. And the rest of civilization needs to be prepared to do more than just take note. Thank you for mind flexing with me. My name's Alia Parker. If you enjoyed this soundbite, please join the conversation on my page at mindflexing.com.au, which you can also find on Substack. For more of my work, click follow now on your favourite podcast app. I'll be back in a month. Until then, keep flexing.